Hey, welcome to the TheZoShow. I am Coach Zoe. It is 9 p.m. Central Time in Kansas. This live is brought to you by Distal Point Tumbling. And I just figured we'd do a quick Q&A because I've had a few questions, and it's usually while I'm in the middle of a live and then I never get to answering it. I'm also so far away from my phone that I never see the questions on time. So I was like, hey, let's take care of that today. So we are doing a YouTube series called TheZoShow, right? This is Facebook Live called TheZoShow Live. We're going to do a YouTube series called TheZoShow. There we highlight coaches and people who take their time out to help with kids' activities, cheer coaches, athletic directors, cheer sponsors, things like that. And we had our first interview. We had our first session today, and it was so stressful. Like, me and my videographer had pre-production for 2 hours yesterday. We laid everything out. We had from A to Z, and we get to the production, we get to the site, and nothing's working. Microphones don't work. Let me see if this microphone's working. Yeah. Microphones don't work. Left the phone at home. It was just all in all very stressful to get started. But thankfully, it was all love. It was all family. So we had a great time. Doing it. But man, I hope you guys enjoy the YouTube series because that first episode was super stressful. Okay, so while we're waiting for questions and stuff, I have kind of a layout of like what I want to talk about on which days, but sometimes I get so many questions about one thing, or like Ashley had to ask about stunting and flyers, even though that's not usually what I do on Fridays. But Ashley's day one, listen number one, view number one, like number one. So I was like, we're going to take care of that. Anything from Miss Ashley. But Fridays, or today's Saturday. Saturday, I like to talk about standing tumbling. Hold on, I want to block that light in the back. It looks really bright. So Fridays, we talk about standing tumbling, and I love talking about tumbling. When I say like I love coaching cheer more, but I'm better at coaching tumbling, right? Like if there was teams, people would pick me closer to first if they needed a tumbling coach, and maybe closer to the middle if they needed a cheer coach, right? So, standing tumbling. When we talk about standing tumbling, here's what I want to tell you. We gotta help our athletes fall. Ooh, if you have a question, I don't know who just walked in, but if you have a question, go ahead and ask it. If not, we're gonna talk about standing tumbling. But with standing tumbling, we gotta teach them all the technique. We have to teach them everything the exact right way, and then we have to teach them to just go fall, right? I was coaching back bends this morning, and I gave them strict instructions. Feet apart. I'm sorry if my desk is making too much noise. Feet apart, hips under, arms locked. Watch your hands all the way to the floor, right? Strict instructions. If you do it, you won't fail. I had 4 people do it the way I taught them to do it. They killed it. And then they went on their own and they failed, right? And that's scary. It's a scary thought, like, hey, I'm sending my kids off to go into the abyss. But they have to learn. They have to learn, 1, that failure isn't fatal. And then they have to learn, 2, that if they want things to work, do it the way coach asked them to do it. So many times kids want to do what they think they need to be doing. And not just kids, people, right? What they think they need to be doing instead of what their coach is telling them to do. It's like, no, I'm telling you how this works. If you do it this way, it'll work. If you're trying to do it your way, it will not work. So we have to get our athletes to know the proper technique, and then we have to get them to go try it. We have to go get them to fail it so you can see, oh, that was bad, right? But I didn't die. That's a very important realization that they need to come to. And coaches, hi, welcome. If you have a question, please ask. If not, I'm going to talk about standing tumbling. Coaches, this is a realization that athletes are going to have to make every level. They do their forward roll, they're going to be terrified. Oh my goodness, this is so scary. And then, oh, this isn't so bad. This is not so bad. This is cool. And then backward roll. Oh my God, I can't do it. And then they do their backward roll and like, oh, this is not so bad. And then handstands, the same thing. Cartwheels, the same thing. Back bend, the same thing. Back handspring, the same thing. Back tuck, layout. Every time athletes go to learn a new skill, they're going to think that if they fail at this skill, the consequences are death. Okay? It's just the way, again, you have to understand the way the brain works. The brain was set up to survive. It was set up to make sure that we make it to the next day. And so whenever the brain is uncomfortable, your brain's going to tell you nah. Whenever the brain perceives something to be catastrophic, or whenever the brain isn't certain, it's going to perceive the worst possible scenario. That's just how the brain operates. And so as the coach, you need to provide them with the technique and the minimum in the technical world, like when people who build apps, technology world, they call it an MVP, minimum viable product. You want to give them, you want to make sure they have the least amount of tools that they need to do this successfully, safely, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. In my opinion, some coaches will tell you something different. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But let them go out there and do it. Let them go out there and fail at it. Let them go out there and try it and be like, hey, can you do that 100 times without getting hurt? They're probably going to say, I don't know, yes. Whatever it says doesn't matter, right? But they're going to say something and you say, I think this is the worst it's going to get. From here, let's make it better, right? And if you can do that, then they're going to, let's talk about back handsprings, right? Like they do their back handspring and they jump back and their arms bend and they hit their head slowly, controlledly, and then they snap down and you're like, that was not great, right? And they're like, no. And you're like, okay, you need to keep your arms locked. So I might give them 4 chances, 4 opportunities to throw their back hamstrings the way it is. And then if their arms still not are locked, okay, well now this is not a repetition gap, right? It's not a lack of familiarity. This is something else. Usually it's a strength problem. So now we're doing handstand holds for 30 seconds at a time. We're doing handstand walks. We're doing inchworms, right? We're doing all these things that have us with hip overhead extension that forces us to keep our arms locked. And that's going to help the athlete with their back hamstring. Doesn't matter, right? But at least they're trying it. At least they're throwing it, right? Because that is, for a lot of athletes, there's some athletes where you have to stop them from throwing skills, right? They're going to break their neck. But majority of athletes are too cautious. And so we want to help them take those leaps of faith, take those, get those lumps. Guys, we've all, you know what I'm saying? We all know flyers fall. We all know bases take hits. Tumblers fall too. It's a part of it. What we need to do is, excuse me, that's my Facebook. What we need to do is help them fail successfully, help them fail forward. Okay? It's late. My wife's waiting for me. So I'm going to holler at you guys tomorrow. But let's get the tools that we need to help the people that we lead succeed. Hey, before I go, blogs, podcast coming out starting Monday. Okay? If you need my Partner Stunning Google Drive, it has a seminar that I was watching, that I was attending, where a premier partner stunter was giving advice. It's a 20-minute, I think it's a 60-minute tutorial on different partner stunning things that you can do. If you want that Google Drive, message me at Coach Zoe. I'll get that to you. If you want a training video on jumps, message me at Coach Zoe. I will get that to you. And then lastly, I do have a book called Cheerleading, the Ultimate Guide on Becoming an Elite Flyer. I do have that book. So if you need help coaching your flyers, if you need help with flyer workouts, if you need help, how do your flyers get different body positions, I do have that book. And if you message me, I can get you a link to that as well. Guys, I'm here to help. So any questions you have, if I don't know the answers, I will get the answers to. And yeah, let's Let's get the tools that we need to help the people that we lead succeed. Peace. Have a good night, man.